Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Also, if you are new, welcome. Today we are talking about mastering the art of decluttering and things I have learned over the years that have made it so much easier to start decluttering when you're feeling overwhelmed or just maintaining a clean and organized home. All right, so we are going to jump right into this, and the first thing I want to say, especially if you are just getting started out, is how many of you have a project but don't start it because you feel like you don't have the time. I feel like we've all done that. Either mentally we feel like we don't have the time, or we just look at something and it's like, it's not worth it. I can't get that all done. I just want to let you know that it is okay to not complete a project right away. Now, I'm not saying start a project and forget about it for 6 months. What I'm trying to say is a little bit of progress today is better than no progress at all. So if you can do a little bit day by day, that is so much better than just saying, I don't have the time and not starting at all. And I feel like a lot of us do this, where it's like, I'm just way too overwhelmed. Like, my closet is bursting at the seams. I don't know where to start. And I have a bunch of other things to get done with the kids and school and work and blah, 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 blah. But if you would just pick a small section or even a small block of time, that progress today will make a difference tomorrow. All right, so the next thing to keep in mind is decluttering is, it's layers. Like, it's not just I'm going to declutter. There's so much more to decluttering than just the idea of getting rid of stuff. So if you are starting and you feel so overwhelmed, I think it's really important to break those layers down. Now, what do I mean by layers? And we're going to get into that of like where to start, especially if you are overwhelmed and don't know where to start with decluttering. I would say if you are feeling completely stressed out, completely overwhelmed, is get yourself a trash bag, give yourself 1 hour, and go through your house and just get rid of trash. Just trash. I feel like a lot of times people forget about trash. They think about things like physical items they need to get rid of. But so often, especially when I have helped people, and if you've been with my channel for a while, you guys know I have helped a lot of people with cleaning up, decluttering, organizing, all of those things. Always, every single house I have been to, I had bags and garbage bags of trash, just trash. So if you can go around your entire house for an hour and just get rid of the trash, the empty cardboard boxes from Amazon, the takeout wrappers, the soda cans, the random papers that are laying around, empty shampoo bottles. I do the same thing. I leave them in my shower because I don't want to remove them while they're still wet. But give yourself an hour and just get rid of the trash. All right, the next layer of decluttering I want you to tackle is the obvious, yes, get rid ofs. It's really easy to get stuck on items and be like, I don't know, what if I might need it? And him and ha, and it take forever. So the next thing you want to do in decluttering, and this is if you're doing your entire house, if you're doing a room, if you're doing a drawer, just go in for those obvious, yes, this has to go, done with. Now, the reason we do this and the reason it really, really helps is when you see progress, it's going to give you that motivation to keep going. I feel like when you get stuck on items and you've now been working on a project for 3 hours, but you don't see the progress, that's when you just want to give up. I know I do. Like, I need to see something happening to want to keep going and make it better. So when you start with the trash and then go to the obvious, like, yep, this can go, I don't need this, it's going to help you see that progress a lot faster. Another category of stuff you can get rid of is if you find something that you forgot you had, like, you're like, oh, I forgot I had this. If you didn't miss it before this very moment, because I feel like sometimes our emotions are like, oh, I could actually use this. Let's really think about this. Did you miss this item? For most cases, if you forgot you had something, you didn't miss it. And that is the best time to just get rid of it. The other thing to keep in mind is, have I used this in the past 6 months, and will I use it in the next 6 months? I hear this rule with a lot of people, the 6-6 rule of, have you used it? Are you going to use it? If it's a no, just get rid of it. I also think it's really important sometimes to give yourself the permission to just throw something away. I always hear people saying like, oh, but I could sell this on Marketplace. I will donate this, Macari, this, that, whatever. And we then end up holding on to things that we don't want, we don't need for so much more time, because that extra step to sell or donate is just another barrier. And I feel like when you are just getting started, especially, it's really important to give yourself the okay to just let it go. Like, just throw it away. And I'm like, I donate as much as I can because I do think it's really important. But there are some times where it is more important for you and your mental health to give yourself the permission to just get rid of it. Now, if you're wondering where to start, like you feel overwhelmed, your entire house, you're like, where do I even start? Like, everything in my house is bursting at the seams. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. And I want you guys also to know, like, I have not always been the best at this. When Bobby and I first got married, now I don't think I was ever like hoarder crazy. But like, having things always felt nice. It wasn't till years going down, especially after having kids, because I was feeling the anxiety and the pressure after kids so much of all their things, that I really started going down this journey of decluttering. And I learned there's certain areas that make the biggest difference. So when you are just getting started on your decluttering journey, I don't want you to focus on the linen closet or the random junk drawer in your kitchen or those things. I want you to focus on high impact areas. So that's going to be anywhere that is a flat surface that you see every single day. So if you have that entry table that's just bursting and is a complete mess, start there. That's something you see every day, and it's going to help you the most mentally to get over this barrier. Kitchen islands, I was notorious for the longest time, and I still am often notorious that things just get dropped on the kitchen island. Kids get home from school, they drop their papers. We get home from the store, everything goes on the island. Like, notoriously, that is an area that just is a drop zone. So if you can go to those flat surface drop zones, high site areas first, I feel like that makes the biggest difference to give you the motivation to keep on going. Another thing to keep in mind is this does not have to be a one and done. Like, don't feel like you have to go hardcore, like brutal, ruthless, because that is overwhelming. I don't know about you, but when people are like, when KonMari first came out and I tried it a couple times, like, mentally, I could not handle. The first time I did the KonMari in my closet, there was a time where I had all my clothes on my bed and I just laid in a pile of clothes, almost like numb, because I was so overwhelmed by seeing everything out. Like, my brain froze and I didn't know what to do. And the idea of KonMari can be very nice, but I also feel like for some people, it's just not good. Like, that is the quickest way to just stop you in your tracks. You're not going any further, like, dunzo. I like some of her mental thoughts with KonMari. So like, if it doesn't spark joy to you, don't keep it. But I do think taking it little by little is better than being like, I gotta be ruthless, I gotta do this. Like, I feel like that just is too difficult, and it kind of kills the whole idea of progress over perfection, which you guys know I preach all the time. Like, we're trying to make progress. Perfection will never come, but we can get closer to it over time. It doesn't have to be a one and done. So a little context when it comes to this. So my husband, Bobby, he had so much clothes. Like I, for a while, had a good amount of clothes and I've really narrowed it down. And I actually want to narrow it down even more because I really noticed I probably wear a total of 10, 20 items max in my wardrobe. There's 10 or 20 items that I grab regularly and pretty much everything else I don't. But mind that, going back to Bobby. So Bobby has always had way more clothes than I did. And when we first got together, our first house had 2 closets and it was a pretty small house. So that was like really cool. One was a very small, almost like front hall coat closet type size. And the other one was a like slider. Neither were walk-ins. Well, I let him have the bigger closet because I still naturally had a lot less clothes than he did. Now, also, mind you, he was military at the time. He also had a civilian job at the time. So he had his clothes, but then he also had a bunch of uniforms. But on top of that, we had a chest dresser, like a chest of drawers, and one of those long dressers with the mirror on top. I had about 3 drawers in our mirrored dresser, and he had the chest of drawers and the other 3 drawers in the dresser I was using filled with pretty much t-shirts. So many t-shirts. And over time, and this took years, like every year, at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, we would go through our clothes and declutter and get rid of stuff. Things we didn't wear anymore, things that didn't fit anymore, things that were holes or stained or anything like that. And I have to say, it wasn't till about 2 years ago when we moved down here to Florida that he really hit like probably peak of downsizing. Now, do I still think you could downsize a little bit more? Yes. But if you've seen our bedroom, like we don't have any dressers. We have 2 nightstands. And then we have our closet, which is a walk-in-ish closet. It's not like full on a huge walk-in closet, but it is a pretty nice size closet. And he has downsized so much that pretty much all of our clothes are in our closet. 1 closet, both of our clothes, and that's amazing. But it has also taken years, probably a good 8 years of slowly making that progress. So don't stress out. Progress over perfection is huge. Another question I often get is about kids' things. I know it can be very difficult as a parent to declutter your kids' things, but I have really, really learned over the years, one, if you start them young, they really are good at it, like usually better than I am. But 2, your connection to their things are usually a lot bigger than their connection to their things. I have noticed with each of my kids, and I've started them all at different ages. When I first had Xander, I was not in this journey of life of trying to be more minimal. I wasn't in the journey of trying to be more minimal to make my home life easier. So I did not start it with him right away. We had a bedroom full of toys. We had a toy room full of toys. It was obnoxious, the amount of toys we had for Xander. And then when Bjorn came into the picture, same situation in the very beginning. I did quickly learn, though, after having 2 kids, that it was getting to be way too much. And what I've learned over the years as we've decluttered with the kids is they play so much better with less things. Now, don't get me wrong. I know my kids probably still have a good amount of stuff, but in comparison to what they used to have or what I see sometimes in other homes is far, far less. But what I also see is my kids drawing more, my kids going outside and playing more and using their imagination, being able to watch them like play an imaginary thing. Freya was playing with toothbrushes yesterday. She was brushing her teeth in my bathroom, and I look over and the next thing I know, she's got my toothbrush, she's got her toothbrush, and they're kissing and then going down the slide. Kids are amazing and can play with the most oddball things. So all of these things that social media and the toy industry and all of that has like pushed on us that our kids need is such a lie. It really is such a lie, because when you give them less and you see still how much fun they're having and the things they come up with, it's amazing. Now, if you are working on a space in your house that you are completely overwhelmed with, this often is closets or craft rooms. I feel like those are the two areas, sometimes like a home office too, but closets and craft rooms, I can't tell you how many times those are what people are asking about. They can be very overwhelming because in our head, we think about how much money we've spent and how many things are in there. So before we even start, we are exhausted mentally. And I'm sure you guys know that sometimes mental exhaustion is so much worse than physical exhaustion. So we are going to start by tackling those areas when we are ready. Sometimes though, we have to work our way up to those areas because decluttering definitely is like a muscle. It can start out really, really hard, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So if those are areas that aren't seen on a daily basis, let's close the door and start somewhere a little bit easier that will, one, give us the practice we need, and two, give us the motivation to tackle a bigger task. But with all that aside, let's say we have done the practicing, we've built up that muscle, and we are ready to tackle that craft room. You're probably wondering, where do I start? And I've mentioned this before, start with trash. Make that your first thing you do. Go in that room and just start with trash. Get as much trash out of there as possible, because that is going to make a huge difference. Two, get rid of everything that is obvious. Everything that is like, yep, I know I don't need this, get rid of it right away. And you're going to do this over the entire room. The obvious I don't needs and the obvious trash. Now, I'm not saying dig through things, like we are going obvious, eyesight, don't need, and trash. Once we've gotten through those two categories, then I want you to section off the room. It can be sectioning it off in like a square grid pattern and starting on one corner of the room and working your way around. Or it could be in sections, like I'm going to do my desk, I'm going to do the sitting area. You could do it that way also, but section it off and only work in those sections at a time. That way you see the progress. This is when you're really going to start needing that motivation and seeing progress made. And the issue with jumping from one section to the next section to the next section is you don't see the progress. So by sectioning it off, you can be like, okay, this part of the room looks so good. I can't wait for the rest of the room to look this good. Another great thing to do is take a picture. I can't tell you how many times I have shown clients that I have worked with the before and after video footage or photos, and they're just blown away, because when you are working in a space, it's really easy to forget where you started. So if you have that like physical evidence to show you, wow, I didn't feel like I got that much done today, but looking at this photo and now looking at this area, that amount of motivation will carry you so far along. So if you can take a photo, a before and an after, I highly, highly recommend it. It makes a huge difference. Now, another thing to keep in mind is cleaning, decluttering, and organizing are three very different things. So if you are just trying to declutter, let's focus on just decluttering. Because when you add in the cleaning and you add in the organizing, it can get to be a lot bigger of a project than you are capable of doing right now. And with that, you're then going to get overwhelmed and then not want to do it. So declutter first. Once you declutter, Cleaning is so much easier. Organizing is so much easier. So just forget those two things right now and just focus on decluttering. Sure, if you want to put something where it should go, that's fine. But don't worry about making it pretty. Don't worry about making it perfectly clean and aesthetic and Pinterest worthy. Just put it there and you can come back another day and handle that. Once again, a little bit today is better than nothing at all. So don't overwhelm yourself and take it little by little. Well, I really hope this helps some of you guys out and getting started on your decluttering journey. If you guys want a little bit of like pep or just someone to hold you accountable, leave your projects in the comments below. I love this community and the support here. So let us know what's on your to-do list and we will definitely be here to help hold you accountable and keep you on track. Also, I am always open to you guys sending me before and after photos. I love that. My Instagram is down below. And if you want to send me before and after pictures, I love it. Brag about yourself. Tell me how good you're doing. Let me know what's on your to-do list. You've got this. When it comes to Instagram, I am way better at responding over there just because it's not so hectic as over here on YouTube. So you can definitely leave comments down below, and as a community, we'll hold each other accountable, or PM me over on Instagram as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.